Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Isam binti Musa and my group members is Adi Bahanis binti Abdul Rahman, Siti Nur Izzati binti Muhammad Yatim and Tazkira binti Muhammad Kamal, and we will be presenting about banning burkas, freedom or discrimination. As you can see in the picture, there are various types of head coverings worn by Muslim women, including burkas. In September 2010, the French Parliament passed a bill prohibiting people from concealing their faces in public areas, this is called Burqa Bill. This law applied to all citizens and all forms of face coverings, but the bill targeted Muslim women who wore burqas. Some legislators argued that the burqas was a harmful symbol of gender inequality. According to them, the law freed women from a discriminatory patriarchal subculture. For the first question is, lawmakers might argue that they were creating a more pluralistic society by banning all forms of religious expressions in public places, whereas detractors might argue that the ban does just the opposite. Which side do you agree with and why? And of course, I agree with detractors. But why? I agree with detractors because all forms of religions have different rules and regulations to follow. It is unethically and morally wrong to ban Muslims from wearing a burqa. The burqa does not harm anyone and the country itself. No matter which religion do you believe, the individual itself that you have to control. Second, the theory of Judeo-Christian person as may apply here, which is treat humans with respect, respect another religion, and people will do the same to you. How can people respect to each other when the world practice discrimination? Every religion teach their followers to do a right thing and leave what is wrong. Third, everyone should be treated as equal and fairness in order to become a one community. Ethical decisions have to be made by lawmakers and not be biased. It is not about the religion itself, but also including the human rights.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Nur Izzati binti Muhammad Yatim. So let's proceed to the next question, which is, should all religious practice be tolerated in free society, and are there limits to what you think should be allowed? Yes, we think religious practice, which include right to wear religious clothing, such as full face, veils or niqab, the right to talk about your belief or take part in religious worship should be tolerated in a free society. People should have the freedom to choose their religions and practice them openly without being judged or being arrested. Like a nuns permit to wear their habit as a symbol of modesty, therefore, Muslim women should have a freedom to wear a burqa too, as it part of their religion practice, which is used to cover up their aurah. Religious practice has contributed too much for society. It shapes people's moral, custom, traditions, belief, behavior. For example, in Islam, it has taught us to respect others. Same goes with other religions. It teaches us to be kind to people around us. Moreover, it not only contributes to society, religions also give humans a purpose or a reason to live. All religions have provided us with a moral and ethical framework as a guideline to humans on how to lead a good life and how to act accordingly. In fact, some anthropologists and sociologists state that civilization did not truly begin until humans found religion. Therefore, it can be said that religions that shape current society. This is the reason why it is important to let people practice their religion in a free society where everyone should have this freedom. Moreover, it is under Article 9 of European Court of Human Rights, where everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. It shall not breach any law for people to practice their own belief, especially on how women want to wear burqa. Next question is, are there limit to what we think should be allowed? Yes, we think there should be a limit on what can be allowed in practicing freedom to practice religion. Freedom to practice religions or belief may be limited as prescribed by the law, as it is necessary to protect public safety, order, health, or moral or the fundamental rights and freedom of humans. For example of limitation, the husband beat the wife severely because she's disobeyed the husband. Even though Islam has allowed it under certain circumstances, the practice should have a limitations. Hence, it can be said that freedom of religion can be practiced as long as it does not become a danger to themselves or also to people around them.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Adibah Hanis and I will answer the question number 3. Do you think your home country should implement the ban of face covering in public? Why or why not? To answer the question, it is a no. Why burqa should not be banned in Malaysia? Firstly, in Malaysian constitution, it has stated that every citizen has their right to exercise their own choice of religion as stated in Article 11, which call as freedom of religion. However, no propagation of other religions should be carried out towards the Muslim. It is because the right of every citizen is very important for us. It is the right way to do so due to the respect for other people that they should practice a good manner to maintain an ethical conduct of ours and themselves. Secondly, and logically, in Malaysia, we have a majority citizen who exercise Islam as their religion. Thus, it is quite unreasonable for us to implement the ban as Islam is the main religion in the country. We talk about Islam in specific because it is stated in the case study clearly that burqa, which is mostly refers to the Muslim, and it is being carried out by the Muslim woman, and this restriction of face covering focuses on the Muslim community as a whole. Lastly, it does not show any positive or benefits in implementing the bans, which shows in various countries that has already implemented, such as Belgium, Bulgaria, and Netherlands. Thus, I think Malaysia should not implement this ban. For example, in Belgium, they have said that it shows a negative impact towards their religion, which directly attack their freedom of religion. Netherlands says that a woman in burqa feels like they are prisoners in their own homes because they are afraid to go outside because they think that they may be attacked violently by other people. Bulgaria stated that it is part of disturbing trend of intolerant xenophobia. It is clearly has no benefit but instead create a chaos and trouble to a lot of people just because of this minority Muslim women wanted to cover their own face. This shows that if this thing did not bring any benefits to other people and society as a whole, thus it should not be considered in the first place because it may create a lot more troubles and violence towards other people. Okay, next I will answer the question number 4. Should religious garments and iconography from all faith tradition be banned in public schools as occurred in France in 2004? Why or why not? For this question, it is a no. But firstly, we should know generally about what has happened in France in 2004. As the resulting law passes in 2004 took up Barrow's distinction between noticeable and discrete religious symbols, forbidding headscarves, Jewish kippas, and large crosses, but permit discrete sign of faith such as small crosses, medal of religions, and stars of David. As Barrows at the time in 2004 is a successor of Minister of Education, made a distinguished stating that about the sign of religious is not very welcome in a public building. Thus, it result in in March 2004 that any obvious sign of religion is banned, and the effect takes place on September 2004. The reason why French ban is because firstly they believe that it is a gender inequality and wanted to free women from discrimination that has happened, because they feel like if the obvious religious garments is being portrayed publicly, they believe that there will be a division within the society through the religious garment and iconography. In fact, they were the one who feel disturbed because they couldn't see the face of the woman that they were talking to. In other words, the feeling of insecurity of not knowing the identity of the person, which they think that the Muslim woman who wears the burqa is trying to conceal their identity, which makes them feel that the law should be implemented. Their ideology that in the public place, the French people should leave everything behind despite their religion, faith. They believe that they should live their life as a French, not to take into account any religious matters. In other words, it will only threaten the unity of French community or society. Next is why I think that it should not be banned. Firstly, it is an act of forbidding the human rights, especially towards the Muslim, to be specific. This has been mentioned in Article 18 in United Nations Constitution, stating that human right relating to religion, which people has their right of freedom to worship their religion in any ways, either in public or private. It is essential part of respecting religion as well. It should be their choice to wear it or not to wear it, due to their freedom in practicing their religion in any ways. Should we ever told regardless anything to do with religion? If it is a total discrimination and illegal at many point of view in human rights. Secondly, everyone has their right to express their faith and identity the way they wanted, regardless their background, sexual orientation, which by that it is a respectable action to be carried out if that is their own choice of expressing their faith. Next is from the Islamic point of view. It is their own choice of personal spiritual journey towards God, which it is their own way to connect with God, their act of worship, their act of devotion of God, which believe it will be rewarded and strengthening their faith to God. It is because wear it or not wear it is by a personal choice of the Muslim woman itself, which no man told them to do so, which clearly up to their own choice to make such decision by themselves. So why do they think it is a discrimination toward the woman and the society when it is actually a personal decision and choice by the Muslim woman? Lastly, a feminist view. Women should be allowed to wear or to dress or to behave or to choose what they wanted by making their own decision. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Saskira and I will proceed with question number 5. You can see it on the left side. But before we get to the question, let us understand briefly the terms used in the question. So the first one is separation of church and state. Separation of church and state basically means separating any government activities from religious organizations. Or in another understanding, it is secularism. Secularism is a belief in which religions should not be involved in any ordinary political or social activities in a country. So a basic example would be public school cannot teach subjects like Bible reading or Quran study because it would mean that they are mixing the religion part and also the formal activities in the state. And for your information, France is one of the countries that actually uphold the ideology, secularism ideology. Second term is emancipation of women, which basically means freedom of women. It is a type of human rights to women, in which we want to give freedom. We want to free women from any control, any authority, or traditional power structure that is not relevant anymore in the current day. So to answer this question regarding our position about this matter, the answer is no. We do not see the principles of separation of church and state and emancipation of women as more significant than the consequences received. Why? Because at the first place, the law being initiated by French government does not portray the true purpose of separation of church and state, and in no way they are emancipating women, especially the Muslim women, in the way they thought they are. One of the many purposes of separation of state and church is to promote equality. It means that believers or non-believers, none of them would have to experience advantages or disadvantages, especially just because of their religious views, whatever they may be. And another purpose is to promote democracy and fairness in a way that the citizens, whether they are religious people or not religious people, they are entitled to rights as a citizen in the country. But now, if we look at the consequences that need to be faced by Muslim women when this bill is being implemented, it is the opposite effect of separation of church and state. It is not what separation of church and state has deemed to give to the citizens. People who have faith, namely the Muslim women, they are being treated differently, violently, and obviously at a disadvantageous position compared to those people who have contradicting opinions. For example, those people who say that Burkas are bad, they are not emancipating women enough, and they are free to torment other people and to act violently. So if you ask me, in my opinion, there is no equality to that. There is no equality between the believers and non-believers, whether in the same religion or different religion. The same goes to purpose of separation of church and state, which said to promote fairness. It is not what actually happens, because when this ban of headscarves or burqas are made in early 2000, the enrollment of Muslim schoolgirls actually dropped, more than doubled. A lot of them quit school because it is found that they are being treated differently. They are being prejudiced. They are being pressured over something that should be their freedom of action. So if you ask me, there is no fairness in this situation, because Muslim girls who choose to cover up cannot go to school normally like their non-Muslim friends, or even their Muslim friends who choose not to cover up. Next, the emancipation of women claimed by French government is not aligned with Muslim women's own definition of freedom or emancipation. In fact, it is the opposite of freedom. It is a discrimination to human rights of the Muslim women. So, as I have previously explained, that this ban actually put Muslim women in more tough position and a more dangerous position. So even in the case study, it is stated that some Muslim women say that wearing burqas is actually the form or symbol of emancipation from being objectified by males that is more prominent in Western countries. So actually the banning of burqas, in a nutshell, does not do any good to the Muslim women, the targeted group, and it only actually burden them.
In conclusion, human rights law guarantees the right to freedom of religion, including the right to manifest one religious belief through worship, observance, practice, and teaching in private and in public. Human rights law requires states to guarantee the right to a private life, including the right to autonomy, for example, the freedom to choose what to wear in private and public. States must ensure the right to equality or non-discrimination, particularly that there should be no discrimination on the grounds of religion or sex. And finally, states are bound to protect the rights of religious minorities within their borders. So that's all, and thank you.